Hey guys, today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be designing the side of our truss bridges for our file folder bridge project. The first thing that you may have noticed is that SketchUp has some new logos, some new updates, so be on the lookout for little changes to the programs and things like that. To start out with, I do want you to know that the bridge is going to be 8 inches wide and 2 inches tall. So we're not going to design and draw the entire bridge today. We're actually just going to design and draw half of it and then mirror the other side. So to start out, half of our bridge, that's 8 inches wide and 2 inches tall, is going to be 4 inches wide, comma, 2 inches tall. Enter. So our bridge is pretty small, but it's going to work out. So I'm just going to rotate up a little bit so that we can see our half of the bridge and kind of zoom in here. Now to start out, I'm going to stay with my rectangle tool and I'm going to draw another rectangle right here. Now this one right here is only going to be 2 inches tall, but a 1/4 inch wide, just as you can see as it is in the dimensions right there. So I'm going to click that one. I'm going to then use my arrow key to select this area right here. Now in my design, I'm going to have several vertical lines and I'm going to use the array function of our move tool. So I selected it already. I used the arrow tool. I selected the area I want to duplicate. I'm clicking the move tool. And when I get over here, I'm going to hold that control button so I get that plus sign. I'm going to click once and I'm going to slide this beam all the way down here. Now for me, if I'm going to have this one actually hang off half of my truss design because I'm going to delete half of it. If you wanted to have doubles in the very center of your bridge, you would just move it back. So for here, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to click, and then I'm going to do a divided by 2 and hit enter. So it puts one more beam right in the center, perfectly spaced. Now, before I forget, I'm going to go back and delete this outside part so I know that this isn't part of my bridge when I go to duplicate it. I'm going to move on. I'm going to do the top and the bottom beam. So all the way over, it's going to be a 1/4 inch tall by 4 inches. Perfect. And down here. So if you want to type in the dimensions, you can, but if they pop right up for you, you may as well just go for it that way. So now just to clean things up a little bit, I'm going to go back with my eraser and you can see all these little fragments that I don't need. Oh, missed that one. I'm going to be able to start deleting. Now for my design, I'm also going to have some diagonal lines. So we'll just draw in a diagonal line like this. And what this is going to be doing is this one is kind of like a little bit of a guideline. Let's try selecting that one first. Select that. We're going to move it right here. So there I've created my duplicate and you can see I've moved it 1/8 of an inch. So there's that one. I'm going to go back, use my arrow tool, select the middle one, move tool, control button, and I'm going to move that one also 1/8 of an inch. And the reason I've done that is because what that leaves me with is 1/8 and 1/8 is a full 1/4 inch. So when I use my eraser tool and I erase the extra pieces that I don't need, it leaves me that full piece right here. And then you could go ahead and you could do the same thing this way and this way as well. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude using the push-pull tool. And I'm going to extrude this whole thing 1/4 of an inch. So there's that one, and there's 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, and a 1/4 inch. So this is the beams that we have so far. And of course, I'm also going to just select these areas that we don't need and delete them. Now, of course, if this was my real design, I would add extra beams and extra supports in there. So at this point, for now, my truss is all set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my arrow tool, select the entire part, right click, and I'm going to make this a component. So I can call this truss and hit OK. Now that I have my one component, I'm going to duplicate it. So I'm going to use that move tool, control to get the plus, click, and I'm going to slide one right over here. You're going to click on one, right click it, and for me, I had to mouse down to find the command that says flip along, and I'm going to click on components red. So what it does is it mirrors that component for me, and then once it's there, you can just take that object and you can move it in line exactly with the one that you've drawn. So once you have your truss copied and mirrored and put back together, you're done. Stay tuned for the next assignment where we duplicate this side of your truss and we start adding the cross members so that you can see what your bridge really looks like.